Yildiz Akdogan, you remember the Danish Parliament for the Social Democrats. You have an immigrant background. Do you feel intolerance when you're out talking to Danes about politics, about immigration, integration?
Yes, sometimes I do, but I mostly do meet well, not so positive responses when I, for instance, write on my blog. I have a blog in Yildiz. I do get very much criticized, and it doesn't matter whether I'm writing about equality policy, about integration policy, or about foreign policy. It just doesn't matter. I'm just being, approached as you as a Muslim, or you as a foreigner, don't come and tell us what to do or what to think. And so, in that sense, I do meet a lot of critique. Yeah. But it doesn't really stop me, because one of my missions is also to get into dialogue with people that I don't really agree with. So that's also my mission, try to get in a constructive dialogue with people who is politically or ideologically not agreeing with me. And this is a big challenge, but it's also, I think, it's a right way for me to try to see, or to try to show another picture, or try to show them that because I have an ethnic background, or I have a Muslim background, I'm not a threat to Danish values or the Danish society. On the contrary, I do see myself as an asset, and I'm trying to tell them more about me as a politician, what I believe in and what I think. And sometimes it goes well, and sometimes it doesn't. But you just have to keep on, because that's the way you can try to change people's perspectives or perceptions.
Do you talk to the other non-ethnic Danish politicians in the Parliament about your experiences?
Yes, I speak with most of my colleagues about that.
But also people like Kamal Qureshi and so on.
Yes, I speak with Kamal actually, and I speak with other colleagues. Yeah.
Do they have the same experience as you?
I think when we approach certain issues, then we do get challenged by some of the citizens. Yes.
Okay. How do you see the present political and news rhetoric on immigration integration?
Personally, I've had it. I hope that this very, very stigmatized way of approaching our new Danes, I call them new Danes, because I think it's more inclusive and positive word. Personally, I hope we will start to not only see them as a burden, and just not keep seeing them as a negative thing, but try to see them as an asset. Especially the young generation who's been born and raised in Denmark, who are Danes. I don't see them as foreigners or Muslims or people with a non-Danish background. I do see them as Danish citizens. So it's important for us to make policies that make them feel more connected to the society, because we need them. They are part of our future, and then if we don't try to make policies that somehow make them be more active in the Danish society, then it's a loss for them, but it's actually more loss for the Danish society as such. So I hope the rhetoric, I feel like the rhetoric is shifting, but I hope it will shift more to more positive rhetoric, and I hope we will have another agenda, hopefully when we have a new government.
So you feel the rhetoric is still alienating to immigrants?
Yes, still. Because we just recently had a Minister of Integration. He made this very famous proclaim saying, we don't need to talk about integration, it's time to talk about assimilation.
And what is the difference?
Well, actually, in the Danish context, there's not that much difference. But the symbol of it is I think, is very not inclusive. When you use as a minister responsible for integration, are going to say the only way we are accepting you is that if you only become just like me, then I think we don't really move forward, then we go backwards. So yeah, the rhetoric is still harsh, and then we need a new agenda, we need new words, we need a different approach to the whole issue. It's time. This government has used like 10 years just the same things, talking about parallel societies, talking about ghettos, talking about the young girls and boys more as a burden. I think it's time that we talk about some other things. We should talk about how can we make the education system work much better. So also Ahmed can take an education. I think it's time to talk more about social policy, to talk about education policy, try to deal with other things, how we can create work for the young boys and girls living in Pool, for instance. We have to move on, and I hope it will happen very soon, as I was saying, when we have a new government.
And we have an election this year. We can hear the electioneering going on. One last thing is a current topic is to make people coming in from outside the UK to Denmark pay or save up in some way for welfare benefits and so forth. Do you see that as an immigration policy or as a financial policy?
I think it's a stupid policy, to be honest, because we need good workforce from outside. And if we tell an engineer or a top-level doctor that, you can come to our society, but by the way, you can't benefit from the welfare goods as other citizens. But on the other hand, you have to pay high taxes like everybody else. This is not a way to attract new workforce from outside. So it's not a very good way of approaching to people, and I think it also creates a kind of A and B group, and I'm against that. So I don't think it's a very constructive policy.
But we have a problem with welfare.
We have a problem. No, not a problem. We have a challenge with welfare. Yes, we have an economic crisis, but I think we should deal with the economic crisis not by only trying to see how can we make the rules concerning immigration more harsh or tough, but try to see how can we attract more investors to Denmark. How can we be more ambitious on energy policy, on generally education policy? How can we do some reforms that are necessary for the to turn the economic crisis? I think we have to deal with other things and just keep on focusing on just the immigration / integration policy. There are I think there are other areas we can deal with than just talking about that.
Good. Yildiz, Akdogan, thank you very much indeed. This is Michael Laine for the Copenhagen Voice.